Hello, and welcome to another video. Today, and over the next few weeks, I'm going to be trying a new craft, which I have never done before, so I'm pretty nervous, and it's quilting. I have never quilted anything, but I've been trying to do some research and get some ideas, and I feel like I'm ready to go. So I'm going to be quilting a blanket as a Christmas present for my husband. He is very much into dinosaurs, and so I picked up some fabric in that way. Now, I'm not making it like a traditional quilt because I'd like to be something that is something that's easy to cozy up with. I feel like sometimes cotton quilts aren't really that soft, so I got flannel fabrics, and I've got a variety of dinosaur fabrics. This one, and this one. So I found a lot of cute stuff, and then I also got some solid colors. So I just have this red and blue because I felt like they really went with this super well, or all of them really well. And then instead of doing batting and a quilt backing, I decided to make it a little bit easier and something that's maybe a little cozier as well. I got just a fleece fabric that I thought this green would go really well with everything too. That I'm going to be attaching to the back. Hopefully that's not harder than just using regular cotton. And I've got a basic idea. I'm not 100% sure, and I tried to do some coloring on this. I don't know how well you can tell what I want to do, but I decided instead of planning every piece out, I'm just going to count how much I need of everything and then divide it evenly by all of it and just kind of do it randomly, because I think that's kind of the best look for this quilt. And then just when I'm putting it together, be kind of thoughtful about that. So I'm going to try this out. I have never quilted before, so we'll see. I got enough fabric that if I mess up, I'm fine. But let's try it. I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. So I feel like I should start out and say that almost every process of this quilt took me probably twice as long as I thought it would. So shout out to people who quilt, because oh my gosh, this quilt was kind of a slog. So just know that you're kind of in for it. Just the cutting out of fabric alone took so long that this video killed the battery on my phone. And then as I was cutting out just those 5 base fabrics that I got, I realized I just felt like it was going to be too busy. And so I went back to the craft store and got the additional fabrics that you're seeing here that I felt like it kind of had a pattern, but it was subtle or toned down enough that it would kind of just blend with everything else that I had. Now, I have to tell you, that trip to the craft store was not a good time. The time between me cutting out fabric and doing what you're seeing right here was probably 2 weeks before I picked it up again. While I was at the craft store, I was asking some of the older ladies that work there some advice about quilting, because I'm kind of nervous about some of it. And when they learned that I was using flannel fabric and doing a fleece backing, they basically told me that I had messed it up before I even started, because I was using some unconventional materials instead of buying separate batting and backing and the correct cotton fabric, because I kind of wanted to save money and what I bought was on sale. And I will tell you, I come from kind of a crafting privileged background, because my mom and both my grandmas have always sewn, and one of them knits and one of them crochets. And so I've always been very encouraged at home to be creative and try new things. And so it was a new experience for me to have someone be so discouraging to me for really no reason. And so I really wanted to use this video as an opportunity to tell you, if you want to try something new, do it. If you want to do it different than how people tell you to do it, just do it. I think it's so easy in the crafting community to gatekeep something that other people don't know how to do, because a lot of times people are taught this is the right way to do something, this is the wrong way. Don't listen to them. Okay, I have been working on this quilt a lot and made a little bit of a measuring error, but I'm trying to just kind of figure it out. I currently have it all laid out on the floor on top of my backing, so that I can kind of see what it looks like. I'm sure you can't even tell which pattern piece I measured wrong, because there's definitely not massive gaps. which is fine. I actually, once I got this laid out, feel like it's a little busy, and so around the squares that are too small, I'm just going to be adding a solid border of either probably the red or the blue, maybe one of the more solid fabrics that I got, but I'm really liking how this looks. Right now I'm going to sew together like the horizontal strips that are totally full, just to kind of see how it's working up size-wise. And then I'll start cutting out the borders for these squares that I measured incorrectly. Okay, so I'm back. I know it's been like 2 seconds, but I had like the flu, so I haven't worked on the quilt for a while, but it's like a week from Christmas and I have gotten some done, so I wanted to show you where I'm at and show you what I have left to do. So you can see I have finished all the squares and I've actually sewn them all together in strips. So all the strips just need sewn together, and then I have to quilt the whole thing and add like binding on the edge, which is still a lot to do, but I have a good number of hours today because my husband is gone currently, and I'm pretty happy with what it is looking like right now. You can see all the squares I messed up. I went ahead and did the border around, so I'm pretty pleased with where I'm at right now. It's just if I can get it done in a week, actually less than a week. I'd really like to have it done so I can box it up pretty soon. I have always wanted to do one of these, but I have never made a quilt before, but here we go. So I've got the quilt top done. All that is left is quilting it, like actually attaching the two pieces and then putting the binding around the edge. Now, I'm probably most nervous for quilting because I am going to be doing it using my machine. I don't have like a machine, like the high-end machine that quilters typically use. So I'm just going to be trying to not destroy it. I do have like a couple things on my machine that are like specialty quilting stitches, so we're going to use those, and I hope I just don't mess the whole thing up and get it all like whopper jawed and bubbly. So I started on this the next day, and I was doing it on the floor just so I had like a pretty big space to move things around. And I was pretty confident about quilting on the floor because when I was in college, I loved sewing, but I had a teeny tiny bedroom and I only had 2 pieces of furniture, and it was a dresser and a bed. So I literally used to set my old sewing machine on the floor and sew on the floor. So I was like, I'm going to be great at this because I always used to do this. But I literally sat there and quilted for about 6 hours, and I cannot tell you how bad my back and my bottom hurt after this. All right, my husband's probably gonna be home in the next like 5 to 10 minutes, so I'm kind of packing up what I've been doing, and I'm gonna admit I'm not nearly as far as I wanted to be. Like, I really had intentions to just get it completely done today, and I'm not even halfway done with the quilting, let alone binding. So that's not a good feeling. I'm really liking what it looks like. I don't know how well you can tell. Yeah, you can see that. Like, I'm kind of doing different patterns on different squares, and I'm really liking how it's turning out, but I just have not gotten nearly as far as I need to be, so it's making me pretty concerned about actually getting this done. Since there's so much pattern on the front, it's pretty hard to tell, but on the back you can see like where my stitching is, and like I've gotten the middle column done and like a few squares up here at the top. So that's pretty concerning because I've got a lot more blanket left. I feel like I've gotten a little faster at it because I'm kind of getting the hang of it, but like I've got a lot left. I canceled my plans with one of my friends on Thursday during the day just because I was like, I know I'm gonna need the time to get this done. Because I also want to make something else for him, which if I have time I'll bring up later. But like, I need to get this done. I've been working on it so long. I'm so tired of working on this quilt. It is the Thursday before Christmas. Christmas is Sunday. I don't even know what number day it is anymore. But me and my husband are exchanging gifts tonight because we have plans like every single day all the way through Christmas until like Monday. So we decided tonight we'll exchange gifts, so I have to have this done tonight. Over the last 2 days, I have spent a collective like 12 to 13 hours just quilting this. And I would argue I'm still not really even close to being done. I've gotten a lot more done. So last night I was like working till like 10 p.m. Actually, I think it was closer to 11. But I decided, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this done, basically. So I went through every single major seam around each block and quilted that, so it's actually like all attached now, which I messed up a few areas, which are starting to upset me. And also I was like trying a different foot. It's like total free quilting. It's not like actual with like a foot that makes it go in straight lines, and it like totally screwed up the tension. So I've got like a few areas where the threads are like just such a mess in the back. So that's really lovely. Like, look at that. Oh, I hate it. So the back of the quilt's gonna be freaking ugly, but what can I say? But I went through and quilted all of the seams, so it's actually all attached, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and just like do the binding so that I know I have that done, because I really don't know how long that's gonna take me, and I have to have this done by tonight. And then that way I can just quilt until I like literally need to wrap the thing. I'm kind of going with like way simpler patterns, that way I can just get it done, because I'm so tired of working on this. So I love making homemade gifts for people, but I hate having like a time limit, especially with like something I've never done before. I really did not think this would take nearly this long. Literally, like the first day that I started quilting, I was like, I'm gonna get this done today. Oh my gosh, it's so not true. I'm really tired of working on this. Here we go, third day in a row. Oh my gosh. I've got it as much done as I possibly can. I did not get the chance to quilt every square, but every square is different. So I feel like I can get away with that. But like some of them have a lot of quilting on them and a lot of detail, but then some of them are like less quilting and less detail, and it's fine because I think it looks really good. Oh my gosh, this clip is such a mess because I was trying to hurry because I needed to wrap this, but the quilt is too long and it's getting tangled in wrapping paper. I just gave up. You get the point. But I think with videos like this, it's nice to be transparent, so I'm showing you all my mistakes. Look at all these places that the tension on my sewing machine was not correct because I was using a new foot. Like, oh, it looks terrible. And I have another area that I got the quilt crooked, so I had to piece the fleece together on the edge of my quilt here. So it got kind of messy over there. And I have other areas with wrinkles and places with little yarn nests, and I wrinkled my backing right there just to be totally transparent. And I also had quite a bit of like leftover fabric because I'd never done this before, so I didn't really know how much to get when I started the project. So I made a matching pillowcase to go with it, and I didn't have enough fabric to do like two sides of one, so it's two different fabrics, but I think they match really well, so I think it looks good. And I used the extra binding that I had left over for the edge of it, so I'm pretty happy with this. Oh my gosh, this was such a long process. Like, I don't even know how many hours I put into this. I know in the last 3 days I've worked probably like 18 hours just quilting it and adding the binding, so I definitely underestimated how many hours this was going to take, but I think it was totally worth it, and I have a good feeling that it's going to get a lot of use because it is super warm, and I'm really glad that I made it. I don't know if I'll ever quilt again because it was such a long process and it was very hard to get done by a time limit. So we'll see if that ever happens again. But thank you for coming along for this very long journey. I hope you enjoyed seeing it, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Do you like it?
I do.
Good. Are you warm?
Very warm.
Good. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.